been a long week, a lot of bikes. Have you made your decisions?
Yes, we're ready to make our decision. Welcome to Palm Springs, California. Thank you for tuning in to the 2020 eMTB Roundup. Today we're going to be taking a look at 7 bikes in the Enduro category. That is more than 150 millimeters of rear wheel travel. I think we came into the week thinking we were going to walk out of this picking the one best winner, like the bike. We've had 10 people here over the week and really realized that that's an injustice for you guys and to a lot of the bikes to just pick one winner. We have created the all-out shredder award. You know, not much else matters besides getting down the mountain the fastest, the gnarliest, just absolutely sending it. From there, we've got the big mountain category, which is going to be just exploring, range, capabilities, all-around confidence and versatility. And our third category is the all-mountain category. That category, I think we all agree, is gonna be most riders on most trails. We're gonna be discussing all these bikes, where they excel, what our favorite characteristic traits of them were, and who we think the ideal consumer is gonna be for each of those bikes. So let's check them out. Commencal Meta Power. It's a 160 millimeter travel bike, and the Commencal Meta Power is definitely a bike that we know well. Dave actually owns one that's, I think, about a year or two old. So overall, I'd say the bike was definitely a strong contender in the category, right? It was a fast bike. I know a lot of people really enjoyed how stable and planted the bike felt. Dave, what were some of the standouts to you?
I think the long, flowy trails, a little cleaner, a little smoother. The bike really excelled. It likes to go fast. It likes to be pointed and shoot, right? And so with the addition of the 29er wheels, it is a little more comfortable in that flowier, longer, sweepier sections.
I know Sour Patch and I both felt like when we got into some of that, like the Nar trail, like when it was just steep and chunky rocks, those bigger wheels kind of let us eat that zone up, right? And kind of stay above the holes. So all in all, I'd say that Commencal, especially for the sub $6,000, $5,600 price point, it's a pretty good value. It comes with a pretty good spec. So it was a good bike all around, very capable, but didn't have the wow factor that some of the other bikes in the category had, I would say.
And there's an option for a 27.5 version of the bike. Could appeal to riders, maybe make it a little more poppy and flowy for that 27.5.
Okay. So overall, Commencal Meta Power, we'll get a bigger detailed review coming soon, but a solid contender and a bike that we were definitely glad to have in the mix. So moving on to the next one, I guess, right? From there, we get to a bike that we really liked, the Kona Remote 160. What do you think?
I thought it was great. Affordable price. I really don't have much complaints. It handled well in descents, climbed well, decent Shimano tune to that thing, rip corners, very capable, very stable, high speeds. I think the only thing maybe holding it back is the head angle at 65.
Yeah, I thought it kind of struck a nice balance of, still being playful enough. It's got the Shimano Steps motor, right? So it still climbed well. It had a bit of power in it. The 65-degree head angle was enough when it got steep, but like not overkill.
I think it organically puts your body position in a good spot. And not every bike can say that. So for me, when I jumped on the bike, I was in a good spot. And you're kind of just like, okay, this feels good, feels right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How did it feel when you did a barrel roll on it?
It felt spectacular. I actually utilized the handlebars as a platform to stand, so I can speak to the strength of the front end as well.
Next up, we move to the Giant Rain E+. That bike retails for $8,500. It has a 64.5 degree head angle, also 160 millimeters of travel. This one was unique in that it was the only bike with the Yamaha motor, and Had the giant energy pack 500 watt-hour battery, which was not the biggest. It was actually kind of smaller in this enduro category, but overall it was an extra large bike. I feel like that's important to note because it kind of gave us some mixed feelings out on the trail, especially on some of the tighter switchbacks. The bike looks cool, it just kind of rode heavy and big out on the trail. So the power.
The Yamaha motor is amazing.
A lot of power.
A lot of torque.
It had a good spec on the thing. I mean, it was definitely, all Fox factory suspension. 8,500 bucks is definitely kind of getting up there in the price point. It had the SRAM AXS stuff on it, Dave. I know you had some issues back home before we got to Palm Springs with the longevity.
Yeah, I would like to see, considering it's an e-bike, I'd like to see those electronic components, the dropper post and the shifter, I'd like to see those integrated into the battery.
Well, so the rain was a bit of a tough one, I guess. It was a good bike. It did well, but again, it didn't really have a big wow factor, right? Okay, so moving on to the next, we've got the YT Decoy Pro Race. Retails for $65.99, 165 millimeters of travel, Fox float factory 170 fork. You've got an adjustable 64.5 to 65 degree head tube angle. Shimano Steps E8000 again with a YT custom battery, 540 watt hours. So slower than the 630, right, or whatever that was on the Norco. But overall, I know we had a crap load of fun on this bike.
Oh yeah.
I was actually really surprised because we did test a YT Decoy last year. We did not have a great experience on it. It was a good bike, but it did not impress us.
These are two very different animals.
Bottom line, we love the bike. Why do you like it so much?
I think after spending a lot of time on both the bikes, the suspension tune on the 2020, there's a level of nimble, playful, I can get it where I want it to go without a whole lot of effort.
Starter?
Definitely. I feel like it was made for me. I got on it. I really do. I feel like I instantly got on it, and the fit and the reach and the head angle, everything was just in the right place.
Okay.
Which is unusual for a large size for me, and then once that thing is going down the trail, God, just the suspension combined with the geometry just floats and sucks up everything. It's really supple, very responsive.
Maybe a little bit flatter terrain. There was maybe some holes or something like that. We really felt those holes.
As soon as you start charging, the shock opens right up. But when you're sitting down and pedaling, there's more feedback, right?
Yeah, but I don't care. I don't care because that bike is so bitchin'.
Okay.
The price point is right.
It looks sexy, bitchin' build. I couldn't find the limit on that thing. I tried to max that thing out and it had more.
Norco Range VLT. That is a 170 mil, 63.5 degree head angle. The reach on the large, which I think we all talked about a bit, is 480 millimeters, 53.5 pounds, Shimano Steps motor, 630 watt hour battery. What were the standouts there and what did you think could be improved?
Again, instantly felt pretty comfortable being ripped going down.
Yeah.
Felt a little awkward in corners because of the wide bars and the reach. So that did make things a little bit awkward, but
I felt the bars were way too wide as well. I know it's kind of a personal preference, and that combined, I think, with that long reach, that 480 reach was big for a large.
Yeah.
So, and it really kind of became an issue in tight switchbacks for me, and the really steep chutes into the hard corners.
Yeah.
I just felt like I was kind of.
You had to really work hard to flick it around corners.
Well, there's the spring. Some people felt it was oversprung.
Yes.
And others felt it was, for me, I'm 220 plus, so I was able to engage it, right? And some,
I felt it was oversprung.
Yeah, just like off the top, it just, you definitely felt all those small bumps. You kind of just, you felt that rear end being just a little bit stiff. Wasn't as plush.
You're a bigger guy,
Yeah.
right? And you put a short stem on that bike, it's just spectacular.
When we got that bike on the right trails, I loved it.
Yeah,
It
once you got
shredded.
that rear end going and into the travel,
Yeah.
it felt really good.
Absolutely shredded once we got it.
I would love to see a little shorter stem on there.
Yeah.
And then, you throw it on a guy my size, I would love riding that bike.
So next up, we've got another Awesome bike. Very well rounded. The Specialized Kenevo Expert. Retailing at $82.25. This is a 180 mil bike with a boxer up front. Only dual crown bike we got in the mix. 64-degree head angle, 470 reach. We had the S3 size. And it's got the Specialized 2.1 motor, 250 watts, and the Specialized M2 700 battery. So 700 watt hour, so it's a big one. Despite having the biggest battery and a dual crown fork, it's actually lighter than some in the Enduro category. So standouts to you guys. Dave, we'll let you lead this one off. I know you like Kenevo.
This thing is a bulldozer. That's my line. If it's the wrong line, it's okay. If it's the right line, it's better.
Yeah.
You know, it climbed for me better than a lot of other bikes.
And not just in the Enduro category.
No,
like,
yeah,
this bike
I mean,
climbs better than trail bikes.
One of the best one of the best climbers.
It had probably the biggest smile for me when I was riding it.
Okay. Darter?
Yeah, I'll second all that, even though I'm a much lighter rider. Still incredibly responsive. The main drawback for me is that it really encourages you to just go faster and faster and faster. Immediately at the bottom of the descent, up a technical climb with no problem. I mean, I was railing like that.
You were wheeling up technical
You were
climbs.
wheeling.
I
you
watched
were
you
like,
wheelie up.
Unreal.
So downsides, obviously, nothing's perfect. So
I think there were some steep bits, some steep chunky bits into some sharp corners. And that's when I kind of felt a little awkward, where I felt it was a little tight.
Sprung for sure.
yes,
You know, because
Well,
I
for
really
you, for
felt
sure.
it, but I mean, even you guys said
We
it was
thought
a
it
little
was soft.
sprung.
Yeah.
So
all right, guys. So we're getting to the last bike now. That is the Orbea Wild FS. $83.99. We rode the size large, which has a 455 reach. That was the shortest. XT drivetrain, Fox factory suspension. It has the Bosch Performance CX Cruise motor with a Bosch 625 battery. Man, killer bike. All around.
Bosch.
Very
great.
Bosch. Where do you stand on that, Frenchie?
That Bosch motor is pretty sweet. I felt like I was kind of deflecting off stuff. I kind of want something a little bit slacker of a head angle. Felt compact, felt small, but it was flickable. It rips going up, and it is super capable going down. When we got into super steep, super high speed sections, I was reaching its capabilities, I felt like, in the suspension.
Do you think that was suspension or reach? Because like I kind of told you that it felt super short for me.
Yeah.
And that I think had a lot to do with like the skittish feeling that I got only in the super gnarliest of trails. These critiques, I know we've gone on and on about them. What percentage of the time you spent riding that bike were those issues a concern?
A very small
Percentage. Right?
This bike, for me, checks the most amount of boxes. The Bosch motor is clean, smooth, the torque is high. Almost feels like you have another click after the boost mode on the Shimano. It's almost like you get one more. That's the feeling.
Yeah.
On normal trails, flowy trails, smooth trails, it's flicky. I mean, you can just flick that thing and kind of put it where you want it. It's a well-rounded machine.
Okay. So, all right, guys, I think we've now gone through, given a pretty good introduction to the 7 contenders in this Enduro category, right? So that's, again, bikes over 150 millimeters of rear wheel travel. Best shredder bike, YT Decoy.
YT, yeah.
The YT Decoy is
Rips.
our flat out shredder.
Ripped.
Floater, just
Playful.
floater.
So moving on to the big mountain category, which is incredibly well-rounded, versatile bike. That would be the Specialized Kenevo, sitting right over our shoulders here. Kenevo, we know you love it. I know you love it. Your smile is already indicating that.
I love it too. And honestly, for the trails that I ride on a regular basis, it's way overkill, but it's still so much fun, and it has me seeking out the roughest, hardest line
Yeah.
that I would do.
So that brings us to the all-mountain category winner. That would be
The Orbea.
the Orbea Wild FS. If 10 people asked us what 150 mil or up e-bike they should buy,
Do anything.
that's probably the bike we would recommend to most people, with the caveats of these other performance seekers. It looks sick,
It does a lot of things really well.
fun,
It just
snappy,
does,
playful,
you know?
poppy. All right, well, thank you guys for tuning in. Hope that gave you guys some insight. We're really excited that we had the opportunity to test all these bikes. Thanks to all the brands that were involved. Stay tuned, we've got another video if you haven't checked it out, and that's going to be addressing the trail eMTB sector. And we will be taking some hard looks at bikes with 150 millimeters or less of rear travel. So if the enduro bikes are a little too much for your local terrain and you want something a little snappier, lighter, more playful, be sure to check out our other video, and we're going to be getting into some really good bikes there. Thanks, see you on the trails.
Be a professional, for crying out loud. Come on. Just fix your face, it's too funny. I can't look at it.